Bam! New Digimon set came out. Versus Monsters, EX9. Let's get into it. Alright, so this set is mainly focused on the original 5 virtual pets for Digimon. That's what these borders are going to be about. It's also off of that, slight spin-off, was the original Digital World game. That's why we got the Analog Youth, and you don't see him here, but the Analog Man is in here as well with the Machine Dramon. Before we get too deep into this, obviously we got a box stopper here, but also, given that the set is based on the original V-Pets, figured it would be nice to have a playmat to call out the new V-Pets. This is based on the Monster Hunter crossover, so we have the Rathalos Greymon and the Zenogre Garurumon. I love Monster Hunter, love Digimon. Great playmat, great design. Okay, I'm gonna put the box off to the side, and we can start with the box stopper. So the box stopper, as it shows on the pack, you can get basically all of the. You can get either Dracomon, Huckmon, Dorumon, Ludamon, or Zubamon. You get 2 per pack, which is pretty good. This means that these are going to be pretty cheap and easy to get. We got the Zubamon and the Ludamon. Quite the nice pairing, given that they're the Legends Arm brothers. For this set, the main things I'm looking for is Machine Dramon pieces. I love the Machine Dramon line in general. The other thing I'm looking for is the both the Kaguya. That one I'm also looking and interested in the alts and foils for, but also Abbadamon. Abbadamon seems kind of fun, and so I want to get in. I want to build that deck and see what that's like to play. So cracking our first pack, you'll see immediately something is different in these. So all the DM Digimon, the ones that are actually based off of the V-Pets, have the border, and the border mimics the actual specific V-Pet that they came in. Since the different versions have different border, if you look, oh, where's the camera? If you look down here in the traits, you see this is a version 3 Digimon, and the version 3 V-Pet had this purple border. So you see Unimon here, and then immediately we jumped into a normal one. This is Abbadamon support, had nothing to do with V-Pets, has a normal border. Tanimon and Ek have Eismon Scatter Mode, Elekmon, Tsunamon, Kokeshimon, this is the level 4 for the Kaguya, the new puppet support, Betamon, Kabuterimon, Biyumon, Raremon, I was actually missing one, and Digitamamon. Nice. I already went to the pre-releases for these, so I have a lot of the cards from them. I managed to get 3 Raremon, or Raremon specifically, not Raremon. So yeah, we can keep going. We have Suskmon, Soundbirdmon, Unimon, Devidramon, Kunemon, Dark Tyrannomon. Ooh, we got our first foil. This is Parasaurmon. This is actually the Wind Guardian. They also have a new line for the Wind Guardian, including, finally, the level 7 DNA. I don't know why for Wind Guardian they didn't make that in the same set. Whatever, it's fine. We get it now. But you see actually here, the border is green because this is a green card. This is one of the 2 hits in a box. There are 2 cards that are going to be foiled in this way, and they're just going to be in the middle of the pack. As you can tell, we're not at the rares yet. So yeah, that's 1 hit already. We have Nanimon, File Island, Gabumon, another rare mod. Ooh, and a Kaguyamon. One of the harder to find SRs just because waifu tax is a thing. As always, unfortunately. But, you know, whatever. It is a card game. People do want to trade cards. It just so happens that people also want waifus. But yeah, other than the 2 limited foils, these colored borders, the other things we get is we get 3 hits. That is going to be 2 alts and then 1 either alt or regular art secret. And then that's it. Oh, there's also a chance, obviously, to get an SP. There are SPs for the metal, not the metal. There are SPs for the Machine Dramon level 5s, so that's Metal Mamemon, Metal Greymon, Andromon, Megadramon, and uh, Metal Tyrannomon. Those can come in Alt or SP. Parasaurmon, Kunemon, Teropiamon, Ogremon, Tokomon, Tuskmon, Pagumon, Sukamon, Biamon, Numemon, Skullgreymon, and Metal Tyrannomon SP. So all the level 5s for the Machine Dramon are SPs, and the Machine Dramon himself is a secret. So it's a little bit of a pricey deck to build, but it shouldn't be the worst thing ever since you don't actually need that many, like 3 at most. And 3 is really pushing it. You probably only want 3 of the Mega Dramon since the inherit for the Mega Dramon is so important if you're building that Machine Dramon deck. Kokeshimon, Dark Tyrannomon, Kunemon, Tsunemon, Negamon, Patamon, Airdramon, X Tyrannomon, and ooh, Metal Greymon, Alterusmon. So the Metal Greymon Alterus mode is kind of interesting um, in this set because it wasn't in the original, so it doesn't have the DM or a version, even though it's designed for the Alter S deck. But actually, so instead of that, they gave it the Adventure trait, and it has the ability to Evo and Adventure trait. So it's like double support. On the one hand, it's support for the new Alter S, which is kind of one of the payoffs for DM and version, but it's usually going to be a more Omnimon Ace style build. But yeah, pretty alt. Very nice to see. And let's keep going. We got Koromon, Davidramon, Elekmon, Hanimon, Tropiamon, Palmon, Ogremon, Garurumon, Devimon, Raremon, Cresgarurumon Ace, and Titamon Ace. So yeah, this is kind of what I meant. This is the Cresgarurumon. So he's actually fully version 2 DM has absolutely nothing to do with adventure, even though the Where Garurumon Sagittarius mode has nothing to do with DM and version. So it's a little interesting how they set that up, but it's alright because the deck that they're designed for doesn't actually care about that. It just makes it an interesting build around. New card for adventure, just 2 level 5s, and new cards for for Alter S. Here we got Mirai, which is the new tamer for the Kaguya, and Agumon. The fact that they called her Mirai, and then when there's also Mirai, can get a bit confusing for people. But it kind of makes sense. You just make the ah sound for one and the eh sound for the other. They're literally one vowel separate. So we have Tai and Matt, also new adventure support, and Andromon. Let's go. I basically got no SPs when I was doing my pre-releases, so I think any of these SPs are exciting to me, especially because I do, like I mentioned, want to build Machine Dramon and Kaguya, so these hits so far have been really nice to see. Koromon, Hanimon, Ogremon, Teropiamon, Eismon Scatter Mode, Palmon, Tsunemon, Kabuteri, Greymon, Gazi, another time Matt, and the Blitz Greymon Ace. Bro, I love Digimon arts. They are so pretty. They did it so well. in general, the card game. The fact that a lot of the space on a card is dedicated to the art, and they do a lot with the art. Like, look at this Elecmon. It's gorgeous. It's a bit washed out, but look at it. So pretty. And this is just a common. Like, come on. Kunemon, Pomomon, File Island, Gabumon, Negamon. Be careful pronouncing this card. We have Blitzgreymon Ace, and ooh, the Meat alt art. Very pretty card. Man, I love the idea that they made meat and protein, uh, which is like one of the actions that you could do while training a Digimon and the V-Pets. They made them their own cards. Is really funny to me. It does make me wonder if like training can become its own option as well. The only reason I think that they might not is actually because of training as an effect that they added on cards, on Digimon themselves. Um, there's a new keyword that they added which says in the main phase, by suspending this Digimon, place your deck's top face down. Sorry, place your deck's top card face down as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. This effect can also be activated in the breeding area because obviously you're training and you can train in the V-Pets before going into battle. So it makes sense that you can activate it in the breeding area. We got Abbadamon and ooh, Analog Man alt. That's super pretty. Yeah, that means that's it in terms of alts for the box. However, there's always the chance for that SP hit. Never say never, right? Plus, we're also still looking for that other limited foil. Like I mentioned before, the main ones I'll be looking for is stuff like this Kokeshi, for example. Vidra, Suno, Ogre, Uni, Dark Tyranno, Hanimon, Greymon, Sukamon, Airdramon, Skull Greymon, and Mamemon. This one's just a rare. The Metal Mamemon's the one that's NSR. But yeah, in terms of what I'm interested in, these alts feel like a bit of an L, but I think I can find someone at my locals to trade the alters and the analog man at least. We'll see if anyone's interested in that meat. Though I won't trade my meat lightly. So we got the X Tyrannomon and Karakurumon is the level 5 for the Kaguyamon and in general the Puppet Liberator stuff. I actually think it's a decently powerful effect because you when evolving or when you play it, you just delete one of your tokens or other Puppet trait Digimon, and then this Digimon may evolve into a Digimon card with Puppet trait in the hand without paying the cost. So this could honestly even pop off in like Shin Manzaimon or Monzo or Numemon Monzaimon lists in general if they ever come back. Not great for the Numemon side of things, but great for popping a Monzaimon or something just to evo into a Shin for free. Could be interesting tech. Tropiamon, File Island. Again, File Island, this is the Digimon world. Gabumon, Protein, and Metalterramon, and Tiamat. Yeah, I'm actually going to show you something really that I think is quite cool. I wonder if we're going to get a chance to see the other side of it, but for these DM Digimon that have the border, if you see in the Inherit, you can also see this is the original sprite, but actually colored. They also recently released the colored versions of the original V-Pets. This is in contrast to a normal Digimon card where the Inherit effect box, the art just uses a close-up or a cropped version of the main art. And if we do come across it, if you get a limited foil one of one of these cards, the Inherit also gets changed because it's like scraping away the V-Pet design of the border and therefore also the inherent effect. Raremon, Hyandramon Ace, and Digitamamon. But yeah, playing the pre-release for this set was actually very interesting. I don't know what's happening to my focus. Camera, please. Camera. There you go. It was very interesting because it felt a little pull dependent. Because if you got really good level 5 SRs, really good level 6 aces, you can honestly hard drop those aces and win sometimes. But the games were so grindy, and it kind of depended on what you pulled. Plus, with all the training that you do, you can actually deck out very easily. So it was definitely an interesting format. Not my favorite in terms of sealed. We got Raremon and Agumon. I wonder what your guys' sentiment was in terms of sealed. I generally love sealed, but this one was a little rough. Though having everything be, or not everything, but a lot of the things be DM and DM related, what's definitely interesting, all the effects were a lot more live than in previous sets. So that part was fun. It's just the unfortunate fact of the format making it very stally, because there's also a lot of removal on level 4s. Karakurumon and Mamemon. Yeah, so the other thing that I found very interesting about this set and the new things it introduces, the face down cards in sources. You can be de-digivolved into them, and if you end up with a face down card, because a face down card has effectively absolutely no text, so that means it has no DP. So if you get de-digivolved into a face down card, you just get removed by rules processing. Hydramon and Abbadamon. And so yeah, because you get removed by rules processing, that means obviously no deletion or whatever. But also the face down card has absolutely zero effect in terms of inherits or anything other than it is just an additional card and sources. So if you have things that care about number of cards and sources, then it does matter. But other than that, nope, does not matter one bit. So yeah, I think that's interesting. I like that you are able to look at them once you put them face down. I would be worried if they didn't do that. We have Mirai and Metal Greymon. Finally, another SR. Feels like we didn't get an SR for a while. In EX sets, we get 6 SRs. I forgot to mention that earlier. So we're looking for 2 more SRs in the last 6 packs. For those of you who don't know, 6 packs is actually how much you get for a sealed event to run, and 2 and 6 is a lot more than I got. In my sealed events, I got 0 in both sealed events that I went to in terms of SRs. Though I did hit an alt, so it was alright at the end. Skull Greymon and Meat. Oops. Pick that up. But yeah. I think after this, I'm going to go back through and talk through some of the more important cards, in my opinion, that are relevant for strategies that I care about. But overall, it's been fun so far. We got Analog Man and another Abbadamon. I do like in general EX sets being smaller sets. Makes it so that it's easier to get play sets. It's easier to get the cards you want. Though the fact that they bring down the number of SRs per box makes it so that SRs tend to be more expensive. But the fact that they increase the number of alts per box kind of makes up for it by making alts cheaper, generally speaking. Oh, there we go. Nanimon. So yeah, you see here, this Nanimon is a version 4 card. As you can tell, whoa, there's so many lights. There you go, version 4. But instead of it having the little sprite, it just has his face. Because this is the foil, which scrapes away that little bit of character. It's unfortunate to scrape away the character, but it makes sense to treat it separately because you do remove that border as well. Numemon, Titamon Ace, and Abbadamon Core. Honestly, been loving the SR so far. Everything that I've been looking for. So that is great. Though I think there isn't really an SR I don't want, other than like Cernumon, maybe. Uh, so Koromon, Tanemon, Sunemon, Parasaurmon, Ogremon, Dark Tyrannomon, Kokeshimon, Airdramon, Raremon, Andromon, Addamon, and Metal Mamemon. So that's our SRs. Pretty cool. We got 4 of the 5 pieces of the Machine Dramon, Kaguyamon, and Abbadamon Core. That's basically everything I'm looking to build. The only way that really could have been better for me is instead of one of these ults, probably instead of that meat, we got a Machine Dramon. Would have loved to get those Machine Dramons in. Secrets rares in secret rares in EX sets are always kind of interesting to try to find because the price of the regular and the alt end up being kind of close. I think they might have made that better by doing this, but I don't know. Because it used to be, for those who don't know, guaranteed 3 alts and then a chance for a secret at 50-50. But now the chance for the secret is replacing an alt. So yeah, these are just 2 rares here. No SPs, but we did get some nice hits. I'm going to go through the key cards that I mentioned. Abbadamon Core here, we've got a ton of keywords. But he has a very interesting effect where it says, in breeding, during your opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon attacks by returning 4 Negamon from your trash or your Digimon's Digivolution cards to the bottom of your Digi-Egg, this Digimon moves to the battle area. The reason this is interesting is because this is when one of your opponent's Digimon attacks, and because you are you are not the turn player, that means your opponent attacks, does all their one attacking effects, does all of their effects that triggered when they attacked, and then you can move this up. Which means you get around any deletion on attacking or any of that shenanigans. The only things you wouldn't get around is if your opponent has an effect that cares about when you move from breeding to the battle area, or anything that happens during blocker timing. Speaking of, there is collision, piercing, reboot, blocker, and sec +1 on this bad boy. 5 keywords. You thought Examon Ace had a lot of keywords? Nah, this has a lot of keywords. It also has another effect, which is 1 digivolving, 1 attacking, and new to this set, when moving. This does not mean that when you're moving from your place to your parents' place back because you just finished college and you haven't found a job yet. When moving is talking about moving from breeding to battle area, but I think this technically would also work if somehow there is an effect in the future that makes something move from battle area to breeding. Obviously, it wouldn't because then you'd be in breeding and then breeding effects won't work, but you could have a when moving effect that triggers in the battle area in the future. That is in the breeding area in the future. That is technically possible. The other reason why that is interesting is because essentially that Ukomon text that says when this Digimon or when one of your Digimon moves the breeding area, that could be changed to just one moving. Though Ukomon also triggers when something else moves. I think Ukomon would be a lot more balanced if only it triggers when it itself moves. But that's beside the point. When moving, when digivolving, when attacking, you place 3 level 6 or lower Digimon with Negamon in their text from your trash as this Digimon's top Digivolution card, and you delete all your opponent's lowest level Digimon. So your opponents will see this coming because obviously they're in the battle, in the breeding area. But if their deck can't really easily play something out, and they're either forced to take another turn, in which case you can then move up, and you can move up, delete something, attack, delete something, digivolve an Abbadamon, a regular Abbadamon they had on the field, delete something else. speaking of, that's where regular Abbadamon comes in. It has on play when evolving. If there are 4 or more total Negamon in your trash and your Digimon's Digivolution cards, you may play one Abbadamon core from your hand or trash to the empty breeding area without paying the cost. That's how you get this bad boy in breeding to begin with. And it also has end of all turns by placing one level 6 or lower Digimon card from Negamon in its text, with Negamon in its text, from your trash as this Digimon's top Digivolution card. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the same level as that placed card. So you can place another Abbadamon, you can place Raremon, whatever. The idea is you're filtering out those weaker Digimon so that when Abbadamon core gets to move from raising, you clear out any of those pesky Digimon. The other thing that this has is another new keyword, which is assembly. Assembly is kind of Digicross, but instead of using hand and field, it's using trash. So it says when this would be played by placing the specified cards from the trash under it, reduce the play cost. The other thing different from Digicross is you need to have every card specified. In this case, assembly -6 for Negamon. So once your Negamon already in trash, you can get a Abbadamon onto the field for only 5 cost because it's assembly -6. And since we've been talking about it so much, the Negamon itself is also a very new style of egg for these kinds of decks. Instead of it being more mother style, it is just a baby, but you can't evolve it. It says breeding, all turns this Digimon can't evolve, and effects can't delete or trash it. I think they added the effects can't delete or trash it to avoid you speeding up the process of getting the Negamon in trash by playing, for example, a Gizamon Proto or Proto Gizamon, which just that you delete a level 2 in raising. They don't want you to do that, wants you to actually use its main effect, which is breeding main. You may play one Digimon card with Negamon in its text from hand with a play cost reduced by 2. For each Negamon in your trash or your Digimon's evolution cards, further reduce it by 1. Then place this Digimon as the played Digimon's bottom evolution card. That's how you get those eggs out of there. Instead of digivolving and raising, you're playing something using this effect, reducing the effect, and then tucking it under. So Abbadamon, for example, if you're desperate, you can play for 9 and put a Negamon under it. And it has the inherit opponent's turn. When any of your opponent's Digimon attack, you may change the attack target to one of your Digimon with Negamon in its text. The other thing to note is that Abbadamon cores, when moving, when evolving, when attacking, only places level 6 or lower Digimon cards. So it cannot place the Negamon itself. Just important note. The other thing that's kind of interesting here is for some reason they said for each Negamon in your trash or your Digivolution cards, which makes it sound that you have to pick either the number in trash or the number in Digivolution cards. It's meant to be and. I don't know why they put an or. And is what you need when you do both. It's just one of those Bandai quirks, and the fact that it's just basically a translation error, in my opinion. The other thing I wanted to highlight is how interesting the different versions are. They're all close to each other. There's a lot of similarities between them, but they're just slightly different. Example here is the Digi-Eggs. So they all have essentially the same effect. They care about you having face down cards, and they reduce the Evo cost by 1. But then they're different in how they do it. And also they only do that for their specific version. So for example, Koromon is when attacking, this Digimon with face down cards and its Digivolution sources may evolve into a version 1 trait Digimon in the hand, reducing the cost by 1. Tsunamon says when a face down card is placed in this Digimon's Digivolution card, this Digimon may evolve into a version 2 Digimon trait Digimon card in the hand with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. Tokamon says when this Digimon with face down Digimon Digivolution cards would evolve into a version 3 trait Digimon, reduce the cost by 1. Importantly, this is at your turn. So is the Tsunamon, whereas Koromon was when attacking only. Tanemon, which is honestly the only unique one, says when any of your version 4 Digimon are played by trashing this Digimon's bottom face Digivolution card, gain 1 memory. This is because the Tidamon Ace which is the level 6 of the version 4. It has an effect when it evos to or on play to play a version 4 from trash. But I think it's honestly the weakest one, because the last one is Pagumon. When attacking by trashing this Digimon's bottom face down Digivolution card, this Digimon may evolve into a version 5 trait Digimon card in the trash, reducing the evolution cost by 1. Obviously, we don't have. I didn't pull it here, but the Machine Dramon is a version 5. So the interesting part here is that I think the Pagumon has a chance to be really good for the Machine Dramon deck because you can cycle the Machine Dramons. You only need to find the one, and then you can bring it back every time when you're attacking with your level 5s. Speaking of, let's go through those level 5s really quick. We have Metal Mamemon, which all of them have the text that is similar, which is when this card would be played by trashing one cyborg, or version 2 trait card from your hand, reduce the play cost by 2. So they can all be basically played for a 5 cost. The difference between them is that version. So everything can trash a cyborg, this one trashes version 2, and they trash their own versions basically. Anyway, you get the point. On play when evolving by placing one Digimon card from your trash face down as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card from one of your opponent's Digimon. Trash any one Digivolution card for each of this Digimon's face down Digivolution cards. Then return one of their Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck. A lot of text. All it means, place one card face down from your hand, and then for each of its face down, you trash one source, and then you return something with no cards to the bottom deck. So pretty good. Machine Dramon has bounce now, and it has also end of your turn. One of your opponents end of your turn. One of your Digimon unsuspend. So it's like a pseudo reboot, but it happens on your turn. I don't know how much that's gonna matter because there's nothing really that has blitz or attack at the end of your turn yet for the Machine Cyborg stuff. We have Metal Greymon. This is the version 1. And it has on play when evolving by placing one Digimon from your trash face down as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards. Metal Mamemon is also trash, I misspoke. Delete up to 5k total worth of your opponent's Digimon. For each of this Digimon's face down Digivolution cards, add 2k. So it's a base delete 7k total, and you can increase that, and it has Inherit Sec +1, really good for the deck. Andromon, on play when evolving by placing one Digimon card from your trash face down. As this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3k, and then an extra 2k, minus 2k for each of this Digimon's bottom face down Digivolution cards. So that is 5k total to begin with, and going up. It has Inherit Blocker. Metal Tyrannomon by placing one Digimon card from your trash face down. As this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, one of your opponent's Digimon, you de-digivolve one for each of this Digimon's face down evolution cards, then delete one 3k DP or lower Digimon. This is pretty good. De-digivolve is always pretty strong, has the Inherit Piercing, but also important to note that you can't choose how many times you de-digivolve because you don't de-digivolve X, where X is the number of face down evolution cards. You de-digivolve one for each face down evolution card, so you can't actually choose. And the last card, this is from my pre-release pulls, is the Mega Dramon, which by placing one Digimon card from your trash face down as the bottom Digivolution source, delete 2 of your opponent's play cost 4 or lower Digimon. For each of this Digimon's face down Digivolution card, add 1. So you delete 2, play cost 5, but you can obviously increase that number. More importantly, it has the inherent end of attack by unsuspending this Digimon. Delete one of your Digimon with the lowest level. This has insane synergy with Machine Dramon because the requirement for the effect is unsuspending this Digimon. That's easy to do. You just unsuspend, unless there's some kind of thing that stops you from unsuspending. And then you delete one of your Digimon with the lowest level if you unsuspended, effectively. And with Machine Dramon, the new secret doesn't care about, can still protect you, and so you protect yourself even from your own deletion effects. The other card for this whole thing to look at is the Analog Youth. Analog Youth is obviously a general DM support, but it can be really strong in Machinedramon because at the start of your main phase, you place one card from your hand face down as any of your DM trait Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. And then also, when your face down cards are placed as any of your Digimon Digivolution cards by suspending this tamer, gain a memory. If you have 7 or fewer cards in hand, draw 1. Great draw support, great memory gain, only 3 cost, amazing tamer, because that's not it. Opponent's turn, all your Digimon with face down Digivolution cards gain reboot. So even if you don't have that Metal Mamemon in there to unsuspend at the end of your turn, you still get it reboot with the Analog Youth. Since we're at it, the Analog Man, honestly, a lot weaker in my opinion, especially compared to the previous Analog Man. It just is a memory setter that says when any of your play cost 7 or higher Cyborg, Machine, or DM trait Digimon are played, by spending this tamer, draw 1, gain 1. Then you may place 1 card from your hand face down as any of those Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards. Not saying it's bad, but generally speaking, you don't super love to hard play level 5s. You do hard play the Machinedramon, so it is definitely useful, but I would rather have more Analog Youth than more Analog Man. Especially because Youth can always synergize with any of your stuff. So if you're playing a DM deck for Machinedramon, you get to gain that memory at the start of your main phase, even if you don't go into a specific level 5 that has that effect, even if you don't go to a level 5 at all. Another thing that has high similarity between the versions that I forgot to mention is these effects here, which interestingly do not exist in version 2, but for all the other versions, they have an effect that says end of your turn by placing 3 Digimon cards with a version of the specific one that you're looking at, trait from your trash face down as this Digimon's bottom evolution card. It may evolve into a Digimon card with the version 1 trait in the hand or trash. You still pay the cost, but that means you get to recur the level 5s if they were in trash, and you get to pump it with the face down sources. Is end of turn, so it's not perfect, and you do pay, so also not perfect. But if you're going into any of the ones that are like kind of meant for them, so for example, like quote unquote the canonical evolution, for example, Abbadamon onto a Sukamon, those level 5s have the effect that said when any of your level version 3 trait Digimon would evolve into this card, for each of their face down evolution cards reduce the cost by 1, and they have a cheaper cost than normal, where normally it costs 4, but on a Sukamon this Abbadamon costs 3. So actually, with the Sukamon's end of turn effect, because you're placing 3 Digimon cards with a version 3 trait, this evos 4-0. So if you have Analog Youth and you only pass to 1, end of turn, you slot in 3, and you evo into the Abbadamon for free, trigger Analog Youth, gain a memory back, bam, it's still your turn, and you just went into a level 5 for free. Can be pretty powerful. So decent effects, don't sleep on them. And then last but not least thing that I wanted to point out for any of you adventure players out there is the tie-in mat is an adventure, as we know. Its on play is you may return a Digimon with Greymon, Garurumon, or Omnimon in name from trash to hand. Not super adventure related, but obviously can be played around. But if this effect didn't return, draw 1. And since it's a main, you could basically always on play draw 1. And then it also has the effect all turns when any of your Digimon are played or evolve. By suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory if you have a Digimon with Greymon, and then gain a memory if you have a Digimon with Garurumon. This is all turns. You could do that on your opponent's turn when you play something with Our Courage United. You could do it on your turn when you're training the Evos, if you're sneaking it in between the Evos at the point where you have a Garuru and a Greymon. So you can change the deck around now. You have the choice. Since this is red and blue, you can play all the dual tamers that have tie and or mat. So you play tie and mat, You play Ty and Izzy, which is green-black, and you play Matt and TK, which is yellow-purple. So this gives you all 6 colors, and then obviously with the secret rare Ty, you get all 7 colors, absolutely zero overlap. This will mean that you have to change your deck around to put more Garurumons and Greymons, but I think it is worth considering because you have Skull Greymon, you have the new Alterus and Sagittarius. It's not a nothing, and obviously your level 6s are still Greymon and Garurumon. It's not a nothing option. I think it's worth considering if you're building an adventure deck. Oh, and of course, how could I forget the last thing I actually wanted to talk about? This is the real last one, I promise, is the Kaguyamon. So Kaguyamon says all your tokens and puppets trait Digimon gain Alliance and Blocker. So that's great. Blocker and Alliance to everything. And then it also says when other Digimon are deleted, delete one of your opponent's lowest level Digimon. And end of your turn, you may play a level 4 or lower puppet trait Digimon from your trash without paying the cost. So you really go wide with the deck. You have a tax piece by if they try to remove something, you can use the level 5 inherit to pop one of your other guys to protect it. And you have obviously Arisa then to play more stuff out. You have this which will pop stuff. Really good tax piece. Some people are even using it since it's yellow purple as a control deck, like pure control. So another interesting one to look out for. I think that is it for this opening. Other than that, if you enjoyed it, please engage. However you choose to engage, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you feel like. Let me know what you enjoyed from this video. Let me know what you're interested in seeing in the future. And I'll see you next time.